This is what I would call a quick style sheet, a logo cheat sheet, a little style guide, something very minimal just for the logo to give the information of what font's been used, color codes, and really just combine those things into this little sheet that you can keep with you, or perhaps it's for your organization or whatever. These are really helpful to send out to developers, printers, things like that. So I just whipped up this company um, called Acomp. Not even sure what it is. So demonstration purposes, this is my new logo and font. And what I need to do is recolor this so that it represents the Pantone matching system. But I also want to include everything else that could go with it. So the first thing I'm going to do that's really easy is I'm going to go ahead and list the font used, and which is this Acumen variable concept. Okay, and it looks like it's a default. So if it was like bold, light, italic, thin, whatever that attribute is, I would include and place this here. Now yours doesn't have to look like mine. Design it however you want. Actually, make it your own. I'm just going to show you what needs to be included. So then after that, I would include like some shapes because I want to be able to tell the viewer what the color codes are. So instead of just writing the codes out, which is fine, instead I like to make like a couple of cubes, and that way I can label the information right next to it. So before I go any further with this, I could start building color codes, but they might change because I need to assign the PMS properties. So if I select this guy here, the first one, I come up to edit, edit colors, recolor artwork. And then I'm going to get this window, and up here is where I can select color libraries. It's the same libraries up here in our swatches. So I'm going to go to the color books, and I'm going to choose the Pantone Solid Coated. And as soon as I did that, it recolored the artwork. As you can tell, it might change a shade. Do that again, you'll see. And coated. Might change a slight shade there, but now it's an accurate color. So this first one is done. Now I'm going to do the second. Recolor my artwork, and same thing again. Okay, so those are done. And another way to tell is you can see this little paint chip thing, and there you have it. So that part is completed. Now I have not done the font yet, which is going to be a little tricky, just because I've got actually two colors in here. And what I'll do first is go in here, because once I recolor the artwork, those swatches colors show up here. So I'm going to choose this Pantone Cool Gray. Do that again. And one more time. Those have all now been converted. So everything here matches up there. Now, the next thing I'm going to do are these. If I select this first one, I'm going to use my eyedropper tool. I and your keyboard will give you the tool, and I can just sample the color here. You'll see it shows up. Or if you wanted, you could always go back up here and selected as well. All right, so those are my Pantone colors. The next thing I would do is this. I'm just going to draw out a text box, and I'm going to type in like this, PMS return, and then I would go ahead and fill out CMYK, RGB, and hex. So to spare you doing this twice, so you see this absolutely completed, you don't have to watch this all. But so what I'm going to do now is with this selected, you see there's the code. If I hover here, I can see that's Pantone 412C, very important. So I'm going to type in 412C. Why did I not write Pantone? I could. PMS is shorter, and it stands for Pantone Matching System. But this is where it gets to be a little more work, is when you open up your color picker with this selected, you'll see these are the CMYK properties, the RGB, and the hex. The easiest one is always the hex. And I'm just going to put it in like that. You don't have to include the number sign. That's quite all right. And then this year, I'm going to fill out 63, 65, 65, 62, just in order like this, and put them in that same order. Got off lucky because usually these don't come as easy. They could be like, 12, 86, 411 or something like that. So definitely an easier color to work with. RGB is probably going to be similar, 56, 47, 45. And that is done. So I would do the exact same thing for this one. It would be completed. I'd save it, maybe as an Illustrator file, but also a PDF. And then keep this in the same place as my logo or the company logo, whatever. These are really nice to have handy for other employees within an organization. So this is available, that they understand that these properties have to match this. Okay, so all of this has to match your logo. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, one more thing here. This here is text, right? This is a live font. If I click on it here, I see it's still Acumen Variable Concept default. Now, if I want to convert this to outlines, and what I mean by that is it doesn't no longer, let me start over. It's no longer a font. It then becomes a graphic or a shape. The reason why I would do that is if I send this here to a customer, I send it to a printer or whoever, and if this font is still live, they open it up and they don't have Acumen Variable Concept, it's going to open as a default text, and that's problematic. So one way to fix that is, since we know this is the font and we've also saved this elsewhere, you can simply create this to outlines, either by right click, create outlines, or you can come up to type, create outlines. And what that does, you see it takes away that text box. And if we zoom in, you can see that there's all the different properties, angles, and such right there. So now it is a graphic and cannot be edited as a font. So you see when I click here, all the font information is now gone. It is now a graphic. So that is the quick way to do this. I encourage that you do this for any logo you ever create. This is information that's invaluable when it comes to working with vendors, but also maintaining any kind of consistency with a brand.